No company has IO.OS. And so even within the market space, if people are saying software-defined data center, they're actually referring to just the logical component. IO is the only company that defines software-defined data center as an integration or a convergence of the logical component of the data center as well as the physical component of the data center. And the difference really, and this is what actually, this is the advantage with IO's definition or IO's solution when it comes to that industry type term or industry type domain. When it comes to things like business continuity and disaster recovery, there have been several instances where other cloud service providers only notify customers after an incident has occurred and their systems have been taken offline. With IO's ability to be able to monitor the data center from the physical perspective as well as the logical perspective, you do not have to wait for our systems to be shut down or for IO to notify you. You actually have the feeds and be able to quickly react based off of what is happening to your systems. Right, so, and that is the difference. If there is a natural disaster or anything like that, you can get real-time feeds as to what is going on within the data center and then react accordingly. Other cloud service providers, what happens is that if you do not have a solution whereby you can just move your assets very quickly, sometimes, and there have been instances where other people want to move data from one region to the other and it doesn't work. We at IO is different. You actually know what is happening within the data center even before it gets to your applications. So one of the biggest thing that can be done within that space is it can be a natural disaster whereby you can get real-time feeds as maybe there's a tornado or there's rains happening over here and this is how it's affecting our data center. So you can be able to shift your assets quickly before that data center is lost. That would be that component of it. When it comes to, in terms of the security type component, if someone were to breach your module, the difference really is that you have that information that someone has breached your module and you can be able to shift your assets to a more secure location, which is really the next generation type stuff. So being able to be in a data center environment and moving your data around based off of physical and logical type security breaches. No one within the industry has that capability. The entire premise behind shadow IT and the reason why it becomes a major issue for security people is that not being able to be aware, not being aware of what exactly you have, what assets you're protecting, actually becomes a much bigger issue because you really do not know what people have installed on their systems. You really do not know where your data is actually living because your developers have put something that would be IP, intellectual property, on some other server that you really do not know about. If that is compromised, you never hear about that, right? And those are some of the reasons why those are bad. The security people have to be able to understand what they are protecting the environment against. And if you really have no idea as to what you're protecting your environment against, then there's no effective way to do real security in that. The answer is moving to a cloud service that can give you the agility, that can also give you the visibility, the transparency, the on-demand type capability, and being able to still operate at a very high level of security. if there's a breach and you have your assets with other assets actually on the same host system within like a public cloud type environment, the issue is that when there's a subpoena for that particular system, you need to be able to hand that whole entire host OS or host system over to whoever is actually making that request. The difference really with IO is that for whatever reason, if you want to do forensics type work, you have the physical asset that you can do a complete end-to-end forensic type effort on. So if a customer, another customer on the same host OS system gets compromised and you do not get compromised, when there's a data breach, there still has to be forensics on the entire system, right? The entire host system to be able to see end-to-end whether the breach possibly could have happened because someone had access to the host OS and by whatever means was able to breach that particular system, right? And that is really the difference. If you actually have a private type environment, which IO provides, then you can be able to, the entire system, you can do end-to-end and complete stack forensics on that particular asset. So we give you the control over your own assets because we believe that if you're giving your data to us, you own that data. And so if anything should happen to that data, you also should be able to have control over that data. Within the cloud space, most cloud service providers do not do that. They tell you to bring your data to them. They do not give you visibility. They do not give you transparency. And they also take the control away from you.